Ever wondered how software development would look like without Docker? Picture this, a world where developers are in a constant battle with their environment setup. Every new project brings a fresh set of challenges: installing dependencies, configuring servers, and setting up databases, all while ensuring that the development environment matches the production one. The challenges don't end there. Consistency is another big hurdle. Imagine the frustration of hearing "it works on my machine" when troubleshooting bugs that appear in one environment but not in another. Let's not forget the time factor. The process of deploying an application used to be a time-consuming affair, often taking up more time than the actual coding. Now, imagine a world where these problems are a thing of the past. Welcome to the world of Docker. So, what exactly is Docker? Well, imagine a toolbox. Now, instead of tools, fill it with all the resources an application needs to run, like libraries and dependencies. This toolbox is what we call a container, and Docker is the tool designed to create, handle, and transport these containers. Docker's magic lies in its ability to package up an application and all its parts into one neat, self-sufficient unit, ensuring that it will function seamlessly, regardless of the environment. It's like preparing a suitcase for a trip. You pack everything you need, so no matter where you go, you're ready. Docker takes away the headache of managing all the individual pieces needed for your software to run. It's almost like a personal assistant for your applications, bundling everything together and making sure they have what they need to perform their best. In other words, Docker is like a shipping container for code. So, how does Docker make the lives of developers easier? Imagine this. You've just created a spectacular application on your machine. It's working perfectly, no bugs, no issues. Now, you need to deploy it on a different machine. But wait, the environment on the new machine is different. Your application doesn't run as smoothly, or worse, doesn't run at all. This is where Docker steps in to save the day. Docker is like a shipping container for your application. Just as shipping containers can be loaded onto any ship regardless of its specifics, Docker allows your applications to run on any machine, regardless of its specific setup. All the dependencies, libraries, and environment settings that your application needs are packed into a Docker container, ensuring that your application functions the same way, no matter where it's deployed. But what exactly is inside these Docker containers? That's where Docker images come into play. A Docker image is a lightweight, standalone, executable package that includes everything needed to run a piece of software, including the code, a runtime, libraries, environment variables, and config files. When you run a Docker image, it becomes a Docker container. Think of it like this. An image is a class, and a container is an instance of that class. You can run multiple containers from the same image, just like you can create multiple objects from the same class. Each Docker container runs in isolation from others, ensuring that there's no interference. They're also incredibly lightweight because they share the host system's OS kernel, unlike traditional virtual machines that require a full OS for each application. This is how Docker ensures that your application will work in any environment. It creates a consistent, reproducible environment that's isolated from the host system, making sure that if your application works on your machine, it'll work on any machine. So whether you're a developer looking to streamline your workflow or a business aiming to ensure consistent application deployment, Docker has got you covered. It's like having a personal butler for your applications, ensuring they're always dressed appropriately, no matter where they're headed. With Docker, you can rest assured that "it works on my machine" will always hold true. Now that we know what Docker is and how it works, let's see it in action. Imagine you're a developer who's just finished creating a simple Hello World application in Python. You want to ensure that it will run the same in every environment, so you decide to Dockerize it. Here's how you'd do it. First, you'd create a Docker file. This is a text file that outlines the steps Docker should follow to create an image of your application. In this case, your Docker file might look something like this. This tells Docker to start with a base image that has Python 3.8 installed. Set the working directory to /app, copy the current directory into /app in the container, and finally, to run the hello.py script when the container starts. Next, you'd build your Docker image. This is as simple as running a command in your terminal. This command tells Docker to build an image using the Docker file in the current directory and to tag that image with the name Hello World. Finally, you'd run your Docker container with another command. This tells Docker to create a new container from the Hello World image and run it. If everything went according to plan, you'd see Hello World printed in your terminal. In just a few simple steps, You've taken your application and packaged it up in a neat little Docker container. It's now isolated from the rest of your system, and it's guaranteed to run the same, whether you're on your local machine, a coworker's machine, or a cloud server halfway across the world. Docker really is a game changer for software development, providing a level of consistency and portability that was difficult, if not impossible, to achieve before. And voila, that's how you Dockerize an application. So, what are the key points to remember about Docker? Well, first and foremost, Docker simplifies the deployment process. Gone are the days when software developers had to struggle with setting up identical environments. Docker brings a breath of fresh air by ensuring consistency across different environments. Moreover, Docker makes it easier to manage dependencies. By containerizing each application with its own set of dependencies, Docker eliminates the headache of dependency conflicts. It's like giving each application its own personal sandbox to play in, without worrying about what the other kids are doing. But that's not all. Docker has revolutionized the landscape of software development and deployment. It's not just about making life easier for developers. It's about making software more efficient, reliable, and scalable. In a nutshell, Docker is a game changer. It's the superhero that came to save the day when software development was in dire need of a revolution. Docker has truly transformed the world of software development, making it more efficient, consistent, and